Bitcoin coming back down to test the 50-week moving average band. Total market cap sitting right on top of that 50 moving average. Global liquidity about at that point where it should start pushing Bitcoin up, and stablecoin dominance coming back up to test that 7 to 8% resistance. What does this all mean? We're going to put it together today, guys. What's going on? It's Jordan Camerand back with another video today. Hope you guys are doing wonderful out there. So the first thing I want to talk about today, guys, is just a bunch of things going on right now. And we're going to start with obviously that our base case total market cap chart, and what is our base case and what can be our validations for this base case. If you guys don't understand what our base case is, it's that total market cap holding this 50-week moving average. It is Bitcoin holding its 50-week moving average band, and us seeing the blow off top of all blow off tops for crypto, which will lead to the biggest bear market in history for not only crypto, but financial assets in general, the giant bubble pop of the altcoin market. And we're going to discuss that a lot today and why we think that is the case. All right. So the first thing we got to start out with today, guys, is, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat, is where we are. So obviously right now, you guys take a look, we zoom in, we are sitting right back on top of that 50-week moving average. And we know throughout this bull market and throughout many of our previous bull markets that this 50-week moving average has been the point that each of the pullbacks have seen bounces. And it's each time where you see massive fear at this 50-week moving average, but each time it comes down here, you get the close above and you end up holding it, right? You can get wicks, but here we are again, back at that 50-week moving average, massive fear in the market. No one thinks the market can bounce back up, but yet we are sitting right on top of that 50-week moving average. And we just get rid of those circles again real quick. This is what leads me to believe that throughout with all this massive tariff fear and crypto fear that no good news is pushing up the market, I think all this fear is what is ultimately going to catapult us to the biggest run in crypto history, though it does not seem that way right now, and though it doesn't feel that way right now, right? We can also illustrate this over here on the Bitcoin chart where we take a look at Bitcoin, same kind of deal, right? This 50 moving average band, which is the 50-week moving average, simple moving average, and the 50-week exponential moving average to kind of make a band. And you can see that each one of these pullbacks for Bitcoin have come back down and consolidated inside that 50-week moving average band. And here we are again, guys, and I continue to say this is my invalidation for us having this final massive blow off top to that 10 trillion number, that 4236 Fibonacci level of the total market cap chart, is simply Bitcoin getting a weekly close below that 50-week moving average band. And as long as Bitcoin holds above there, all is good. And I'm expecting this final move for the crypto market up to highs where it's kind of inconceivable, right? So everything's good, right? Check. Do we still have everything we're looking for? Check. We still got Bitcoin above the 50-week moving average band. Could we come back down and test that? We've talked about it. Yes, we could easily come back down to those mid 70Ks, but we would still be okay. Is total market cap holding on a weekly? Yes, right? It still is. We are sitting right on it, but we've done that many, many times throughout this period here. So just to kind of get that over with, is everything still fine from our last video on Friday? Yes, right? Bitcoin's above the 50-week moving average band. Total market cap is above the 50-week moving average band. Now, what could we expect for this next move, right? When will this next move happen? And we have a couple clues that we've been looking for on the channel, okay? First of all, we have the global liquidity chart for Bitcoin, and we know that Bitcoin's major moves to the upside and to the downside have correlated very much so with this global liquidity chart, right? We know that the times where we've seen global liquidity top out, which is this yellow line here, that's where we've seen the Bitcoin price top out, right? We just make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better here. Little example, right? We've seen global liquidity top out right up in this region up here. We've seen the Bitcoin price top out, right? We've seen it pull back. We've seen the Bitcoin price pull back. Same here. Global liquidity tops out for a bit, goes sideways. Bitcoin goes sideways for a bit. Same thing in really down in this zone, right? Global liquidity goes down, Bitcoin goes down. Global liquidity goes down, Bitcoin goes down, global liquidity goes up, Bitcoin goes up. And what you'll notice is this is on a 75-day interval. If you guys notice, we are coming up on that point in April, right? We said by the end of March, we should see Bitcoin bottom out, right? So the Bitcoin bottom should technically be in if this is going to be correct. And what we should start seeing is global liquidities already came up and already made a new high. I'm expecting Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market is going to follow it over the course of the, starting here in April, all right? So here we are, global liquidity. The time is now. Is Bitcoin going to start following global liquidity on a 75-day, obviously 75 days after global liquidity, because it takes a while for global liquidity to come into the crypto market? Is it going to start following? That's number one. Number two, we go over here to the stablecoin dominance chart, and this is the real clue for me. We know that stablecoin dominance is at the major resistance where we've seen massive pullbacks on stablecoin dominance. So what do we know about this chart? Well, if stablecoin dominance goes down, we know that cryptocurrency typically goes up, right? They are inversely correlated. So what we have here is this 8 to 9% resistance on the USDT plus USDC dominance chart has been a major resistance point 4 times here in the past. And these 4 times where we've seen this reject have been some of crypto's biggest pumps in really the last, you go back to 2021, the last 4 years, right? So here we are again, back up to that 7.5 to 9% resistance. And we discussed, maybe it comes back up into this region again one more time, as we've seen the last few days. We've seen stablecoin dominance attempting to come back up into that 8 to 9% resistance, but we're expecting that to be resistance. And what this is ultimately going to lead to, and really we can use this as an invalidation as well. What we expect this to lead to is we're expecting this to form a giant Wyckoff accumulation for the stablecoin dominance chart, which ultimately leads to this down move from this resistance here, leading to this big up move for the total market cap chart. This move looks big, but it's really only a move that's, almost a little bit more than 3x the previous high here at 3.7 trillion, right? Up to that 10 trillion mark. It's actually less than a 3x from that move. So this looks like a big move to the eye, but remember, this is a logarithmic scale chart, right? It's only a little bit less than a 3x move. But we're expecting this move here on total market cap to be caused by another rejection of this 8 to 9% resistance here on stablecoin dominance, back down to the range lows. We're expecting, and we're not permabulls here, guys. We're expecting this move to cause the biggest crash that we've ever seen, right? The fastest and biggest crash we've ever seen. And I'm expecting that this down move, if it comes, nothing's guaranteed, but if it comes, to then be causing this to be a giant 1, 2, triple low Wyckoff accumulation on stablecoins, which would cause this giant up move on stablecoin dominance, which would cause this giant down move here for the total market cap chart. And what would form just a giant rising wedge formation, which is a giant bearish distribution, almost a Wyckoff distribution schematic with kind of the opposite situation where you have 1, 2, 3 highs before the inevitable move to the downside. So that's still the thesis, guys. That's still what I am expecting to happen here. And we could even look at, a few more interesting things here on the chart, right? So obviously the big, question is, if we do get this up move, right, on total market cap, is that going to be mainly Bitcoin driven? Is it going to be altcoin moves? Well, I think it's what's kind of interesting. If we just go look at Ethereum, and, I'm not the biggest proponent of necessarily holding ETH. I think there's going to be some better plays, but we can maybe use ETH here. What we'll notice is obviously we saw that Ethereum had this massive break of this trend line, right? Everyone and their mother watching this trend line. It held, from 2022 to 2025, almost 3-year trend line that did break here to the downside, right? But what we'll notice is And this certainly could come lower. I actually think it could come down onto like 1500, 1400 zone, but that's for a different talk or a different topic. But you'll notice is we did break to this downside, and even if it does come lower, we've kind of seen this in the past where we have giant kind of trend breaks, right? Right here was the COVID crash, right there, right, was the COVID crash where we kind of had the same kind of trend break right here for Ethereum. And actually, if you go back to 2017, 2016, 2017 period, we kind of had the same thing where we had a trend line coming across, and we actually did break it down here as well. But what you'll notice is that each one of those trend breaks where it kind of seemed like the sky was falling, it kind of seemed like everything was over, right? If you ever go back there, if we went back in this time period, everyone would have been calling, that head and shoulders pattern, right? That infamous head and shoulders, people would have been calling for, that, massively lower price of this head and shoulders. But ultimately that ended up being the low before it pushed up after breaking the neckline here. Right, if we go back over here to the COVID crash 2018, people would have been kind of saying, lower highs, lower lows. That ultimately ended up being the capitulation low here for Ethereum over here in 2020. And now we kind of have this, which, people will argue, double top, whatever you want to come through. But we do have a capitulation below a major kind of support level that was forming over 5 years. Will we see something similar with this major capitulation of a break of a major support level ends up being the capitulation low? And though it could go lower, and though, ETH going lower still here in the short term, or maybe over the course of the next few weeks, is certainly a possibility. It's definitely something that we have to keep in mind. And what I'm going to be watching for is, as we kind of get along here, I think, any reclaim of ETH over this, 5-year trend line will kind of be the key here. I think we'll get this market really rolling up to that 10 trillion mark. Maybe sounds like Fugazi right now because ETH has been an absolute crap show. And I'm not necessarily saying that ETH is the best play out there in the market, but nevertheless, something I am keeping an eye on, as we have seen that in each one of these market cycles before the rip-roaring rally, was us having a major capitulation low on Ethereum below a major trend where everyone's watching and everyone's saying it's over after the break of that trend, but ultimately the break of that trend being sort of the lows. So definitely going to keep an eye on this. Definitely something we're going to keep an eye on over the next few weeks, guys. But Ethereum kind of forming that capitulation low that we're kind of waiting to see. I do think it can go a little bit lower, like I said, maybe 1,500, maybe even down to like 1,400, somewhere in that zone. I think would be a good scoop if you get it, but nevertheless, going to keep my eyes peeled out for this. So, just to kind of get back to what we're talking about, guys, stablecoin dominance could push a little bit higher up here into the 7 to 8% mark, which could, maybe get Bitcoin back down to those weekly bands again, form some type of double bottom at the weekly, moving averages. Yes, absolutely. I think that's definitely a possibility, and it would actually kind of make some sense for even Bitcoin to come back down to that, 76, 77 level again, while stablecoin dominance comes back up into this 7 to 8% zone before then getting rejected and forming what we have been discussing for the past 2 weeks or so through this chart for the crypto market, which is a giant Wyckoff accumulation structure for stablecoin dominance and a giant distribution formation, really, that's been going on, in my opinion, for about 8 years for the total crypto market, where we'll get the giant rally that will blow everyone's socks off, which will get everyone to believe that crypto will change the world, only to then cause the dot-com bubble 2.0, the pop of the bubble. But first, in my opinion, before you get that dot-com bubble type of pop, you got to get everyone to believe. And it can't just be Bitcoin, right? You got to get everyone to believe altcoins will change the world. Suck your grandma in, suck your uncle in, suck your cousin in, suck your dog in to the crypto market, up to that 10 trillion point, up to that 4236 Fibonacci, exactly like you did in that previous bull market, from bull market high to bear market low, 4236 Fibonacci, bull market high, bear market low, suck them into that 4236 Fibonacci, and then they pull the rug. So I do think we got some time We maybe have some more time to work this out here for Bitcoin. Maybe we have some more time to work this out for total market cap. But you guys can see we are at a very interesting point here as we come up on that April 2nd date, the tariff date for Trump. A lot of things coming up here over the next few weeks that could impact markets. But total market cap sitting right on top of that 50-week moving average, right on top of this 5-year trend line that starts from the COVID low to this October 2023 low to the September 2024 low. We're right there as well. And just a lot of confluence is going on here in the market, guys. And if you're feeling fearful, just know that, people felt fearful here. People felt fearful here. And there's been a lot of times that people have felt fearful. But nevertheless, as long as our targets, or I guess as long as our invalidations are not hit, I'm just going to continue to remain a bull, right? I've said this for the past month or two. As long as we hold the 50 moving average bands on Bitcoin, I'm going to remain a bull. As long as we hold the 50-week moving average on total market cap, I'm going to remain a bull, and everything else is irrelevant. All the chop that we're seeing right now is irrelevant. All the altcoins bleeding out is irrelevant. I'm mainly focused on the Bitcoin chart, the total market cap chart, and trying to use those to think of where the market's going to go next, not individual altcoin charts. All right. So, guys, that is the video today. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll most likely be making another video tomorrow. Hopefully we get a little bit more action. Once again, live streams will be back. We'll be having live streams again once this market picks back up. But right now, it is the doldrums of the time capitulation for the crypto market. And I've been around this market long enough to know that time capitulation has usually meant moves up after these time capitulation times where, people get bored and people get complacent in their bearishness, waiting for significantly lower prices before the market shoots back up without them. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smack the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to have patience over here wait for this move to hopefully play out. We have in our validations. I will be the first one if these levels break to say validations were hit. I'm no longer a bull, but until that is the point, Team Bulla. All right. Catch you guys in the next video. It's your boy Jordan. Peace.